Let's bring in the expert.
The expert. Let's bring the experts in.
Brett Ryan is here with us from Deutsche Bank. I mean, what percentage chance do you put on never coming back?
I'm not an aeronautical engineer, so I'm definitely not going to weigh in.
He's an economist. He's an economist who has to learn to become an aeronautical engineer.
And so what I would say is that there are two facets to this. One, I mean, you get a sense of the numbers just out of the planes come out that have been put in inventories already. So you can get a sense of those numbers, and that's exactly where you get the 30 to 50 basis points, and then you have the knock-on effects with production. And they'll restart production, ahead of time. So hopefully production begins in the second quarter. So you may not get the hit because even if they don't fly it yet, if they're producing 42 planes a month, those will go into inventory, and you'll still get the rebound there.
Brett, I want to stop you because I've been through the numbers like you have on this. There are hundreds of planes in inventory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they're going to start production again until they start to draw down inventory. Now, maybe what Calhoun was suggesting is they have to restart the line. I think they're afraid that either the technology or the labor force could wither or whatever the reason. Yeah. But there's a huge inventory of these planes, and he says they're going to crank up delivery before delivery starts.
Right, but you got to remember, they have a 4,500 plane unfilled backlog to fill, and one of those customers is China. And China, and remember, part of this trade deal of $76.7 billion with China includes aircraft orders and deliveries, right? Now, China has 232 737s that are unfilled at the moment. It also has another 27 777s and then another 12 787s. All told, if you look at just the list prices, now I'm sure that they're probably got a good deal on them, that's worth, close to $40 billion. So of that 76.7 billion.
For just one customer, essentially one customer.
Right. So of this trade deal, now is China going to jump ahead in deliveries in order to meet the goals of this trade deal? Or how is the U.S. government going to see progress towards this phase one agreement?
I think it's interesting to point out there are a lot of things that are going to distort growth in the first half of this year. The trade data has been very interesting in that imports have cratered in ways that Brett was saying earlier we haven't seen outside of recessions. You now have the coronavirus going to influence the data from China. You have this Boeing issue that's this rolling, mouse through the snake thing. Where does it stop? Where does it end up? Where do we put the rebound? Where's the cutoff? And you also have this manufacturing weakness that's out there that people are starting to dial in a rebound. So I don't know if the first half of the year is, call it a sub 2% growth write-off, and then you start to bank. I think the market, Scott, and you know better than I would, is priced that way, right, for this second half rebound.
Well, if you look at it, just look at the 10-year too, right? It's pricing in a slower growth
but it's been coming down,
for the next couple of quarters. And I guess the key question for a Boeing is the replacement cycle. Do people start moving away from the 737s, or maybe go back to the old 737s, or just get this, other planes that they have? And I think that's a factor that we really haven't talked about, because if that happens, then you can get production, but on the other airplanes that they're.
What happens if they produce all these planes and no one wants to fly them? That's the unfortunate. That's more of an airline-specific thing, maybe at the outset. But don't you think these planes come back and everybody looks at the equipment that they're going to be flying on and says, "Hell no"?
Let's turn to the economics major from Wellesley. Is there a price? And that's really the question, right? It's really a fabulous economics question. Is there a price at which your fears are overcome?
Do they have to
fly the plane?
No. Do they have to
discount the flight on the plane? Not only discount it to the airlines who buy them, but then discount it to the passenger.
I disagree. I think that issue would be totally binary. If consumers don't want to fly the plane,
there's no price at which they'll fly it at.
I think a price discount on it would make them even more scared. I don't think, if you're like, you can fly for free to come on this dodgy plane.
Can we go back to the original question?
It's the software.
I guess that's the definition of take a flyer. Right?
What if it never comes back? What if this plane never comes back? Then what?
Well, I think that the plane will be in some way. The airframe itself is not the problem; it's the software. So, you just have to switch out a different software system that may take more time to develop.
I don't know if that's true.
The very fact it needs this software to kick in to offset the possibility that the plane could stall is
because of the engineering facts of the plane where they move the wings exactly.
Exactly.
Another thing I heard, which is that it was the financial department that designed this plane, not the engineering department, which allowed them to extend it to put more people in it and also increase fuel.
To your point, though,
economy.
it would probably be a massive write-off, and it would require some sort of government intervention, and because the government can't let Boeing go out of business. This is a defense company at the same time.
What about an Airbus buyout?
Well, again, that's the government. That's another.
But the whole thing is crazy talk. He just talked about a government bailout of Boeing.
I know.
We've
I know,
gotten
it's
to
scary.
crazy talk.
I know.